Welcome to the Grown Woman Talk YouTube channel. This is for high achieving women leaders, and we are going to have a great discussion on the 7 ways to find your purpose. Now, how do you know that you need to find your purpose? Maybe you know that something is off and you want to figure out, how do I even start this process? That's what we're going to talk about today. So I hope you join the conversation. Like, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you're struggling with. I want to be in this with you. Now, how do you know that you might be struggling with your purpose? Maybe you're not eating very well. Maybe you're not sleeping very well. Maybe your moods and your emotions are a little bit cloudy and you need to get some clarification. Dive on into the conversation. Let's get some clarity. I am Charese Josie. I am a licensed clinical therapist as well as a women's leadership coach. And I like to talk to the high achieving grown woman who feels invalidated, misunderstood, unheard. And our goal is to make sure that you are able to create some boundaries, you're able to strengthen your relationships, and that you are able to create the life that helps you to feel fulfilled, okay? And purpose is definitely one of one. So let's dive into number one. Number one is, I want you to be willing to change almost everything in your life. Now, I know that sounds scary, but it's not as scary as it sounds. If you think about you 10 years ago, maybe a lot of things has changed in 10 years. Maybe you're a different person. Maybe your relationships has changed. Jobs have changed. Things have changed. Probably almost everything in your life has changed from 10 years to now. So when I say be willing to change almost everything in your life, it sounds scary, but if you just enter this and with just some curiosity and say, you know what, I just want to see what life looks like. I want to see what it feels. You're on a good path to discovering what your purpose is. Number 2, I want you to be okay that you can't control everything, that you can't control the process. Now, that might be difficult for the high achieving woman because we want to make the decisions, we want to control them, we want to already know the outcome. If you're one of those people that say, just tell me what to do, this may be a little bit challenging, but fun. This is the way that you discover what your purpose is. What happens if I don't control everything? What happens if I can't control everything? That's what this is for. So trying to control everything says that I wasn't already gifted and born with a certain level of expertise and knowledge and those things. And you were. I just want you to trust the process. I want you to learn to trust the process. So we're going to try not to control everything. So this might be difficult when we're talking about money, we're talking about relationships, when we're talking about all the things that make us feel good that does not have a stop and end date, right? But remember that we're going to work on curiosity, we're going to work on not changing everything, and we're going to work on not controlling everything, all right? So the third way to find your purpose is that I want you to be willing to change your relationship. You choose what relationship we're talking about. You choose whatever we're talking about. There can be a relationship with your kids. It could be a relationship with your spouse. It could be a relationship with your significant other. It can be a desired relationship that you have. It can be a relationship with your coworker, your supervisor, your boss, or someone who works for you. But I want you to be willing to change a relationship. So does that mean that you need to leave the relationship, or that you should just leave the person or cut it all off? Absolutely not. I want you to think of it in this terms. If you are discovering your purpose, that means you are changing something about you. And when we change, things around us change. The people around us change. The dynamics change. So naturally, the relationship is going to change. There's going to be some alterations in the relationships. Yes, you are now hemming the garment, right? There are some alterations that's going to happen at relationships, so be okay with the change. So change can be very scary in a relationship, right? We might think, well, what if the person can't handle the change? What if they don't like this new thing? Well, this is why we're going to keep them involved in the process, right? Remember, I went back and say we can't control everything. We can. This is a good way to practice. So you know what? I'm going to teach you what I'm learning. I'm going to show you, and I'm going to tell you as much as I know. Will that be everything? Absolutely not, because we're not going to know everything. It's not going to be everything, but we will share as much as what we know about the relationship and about the experience and what we're learning about ourselves as we're learning about our purpose. But be willing to have the relationship change, shift, navigate. It doesn't mean we have to end it. All right, number 4 is that I want you to get more curious on understanding your purpose than fulfilling a goal. That might sound simplistic. That might seem like, what do you want? What does that mean? That means saying, well, if I want a purpose, if I want to understand my purpose, I must have something that I want to get. No, something that you want to get is a goal. A purpose is understanding just who you are, just the success and what you feel like is happiness for you. So I want you to try to move away from a goal. I don't even want you to give yourself a deadline. There's no deadline for this. You know, sometimes as women, we might give ourselves deadlines to accomplish certain things in career, in relationships, and kids, and all these other things. But no, our purpose is ongoing. So no goal. That's the 4th thing. The 5th thing is that I want you to identify 3 core people in your life. 3 core people, okay? The first person is someone that is funny. Yes, I want you to have that funny friend, or that could be that family member who's a great friend of yours. And this is someone who just reminds you to laugh. This is someone who just reminds you to just be still. This is someone that just makes you say, just like, aha, I need a laugh. And maybe you don't even know what you're laughing about. That's fine. Your first friend is your first core person is your funny friend. The second core person is your goal-oriented friend. This person is always thinking forward. This person is always a moving forward thinker. When you're talking about them, they have new goals or something they're learning, a book that they're reading, a course that they're taking, something that they just want to move. They just want to live life and they want to explore as much as they can. This person's going to keep you focused on moving forward in your purpose, not ruminating over thoughts, not going over things that you should have done in the past or that you should not have done. This person is going to remind you and say, you know what, we're moving forward here. You say, you know what, I just want to discover my purpose. I have my funny friend that's letting me be, and I have my goal-oriented friend to remind me, say, keep going, keep noticing things, keep being present. Right? And then your last friend, your third core friend, is the one who allows you to think out loud. We need that friend that's just going to allow us to get out of our heads and just to speak what we're thinking and say, you know, does that make sense to me? Now, we're not looking for that person that's going to give us unnecessary advice. We're not looking for that person that's going to tell us what we need to do and what we should do and all those things. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is that person that's just going to let you be. And maybe that person might respond in, well, have you considered, or have you noticed this, or it sounds like this. What do you think about that? They're going to get you thinking. And maybe you end the conversation, you end the interaction, I have some things to ponder on that I didn't think about before. Those are your 3 core people in your life. Your funny friend, your friend that just lets you be, and then your goal-oriented friend. All right, so that's the 5th thing. And then the 6th thing is for you to notice who you are in the relationships that you have. Who are you in these relationships? So sometimes we might end up not realizing that we are the dependent person. We are dependent on the relationship. So maybe, like, I had a friend from high school, and we were very close throughout high school. We went to separate colleges, but through our college years. And I realized as I was going through different emotional things and different experiences, she was the first person I called because she was my friend. You know, we laughed, she understood me and all those other things. But as we got older, she became less available. Have y'all ever had that? As you got older, you realize that your friend is not as available because now we're adults. right? She became less available. And then I found myself getting irritated, like, why is she not available for me when I'm going through something? Or I want her advice on a situation, usually with some relationship, right? And I wanted her advice on this. And then there was a period of time when I felt like I really, really need her. She wasn't available. And that's the moment that I realized I am so dependent on this relationship that it got very unhealthy for me. And I said, I don't really know who I am without her. Who am I if I'm not there with her to make these decisions for me? Let me learn. So then I shifted our relationship. Remember I talked about that, right? I shifted the relationship where we may talk, but I wasn't talking to her for advice. I wasn't calling her in the midst of a crisis. It really wasn't a crisis, but it felt that way. I wasn't calling her in the midst of a crisis. I was calling her with something that I have already worked out, and maybe I wanted to share with her as a friend. I reshifted that relationship. Okay? Another one, are you independent? Right? When you're in a relationship, are you independent? Now, I'm cool with, and I am that independent woman, right? So just for clarification, what's an independent woman? You know, we make our own money. We have our careers. Maybe we own our home, our car. We're not the person that's calling people asking for things. We are the one that people might be calling asking us for things. Or we are the one that has it, right? But if we're so independent, are we missing the intradependency of us? Are we missing that vulnerability in us? Are we missing that piece of us saying, you know what, I'm just going to be. I'm just going to enjoy you taking lead, whoever the you is, that you're taking lead on this, whether you're my friendship, whether you're my spouse. I'm going to enjoy this part. This part is helpful to me. Right? Because I learned that I've gotten so independent that I've learned not to trust other people. When you notice your role that you're being so independent that then you notice that my level of trust in relationships and other people have wavered, and I need to monitor that and I need to scale back, right? And maybe you're codependent in a relationship. Maybe you're saying, you know what, I'm going to put my needs aside and I'm going to make sure you do well. Now, we do this a lot maybe with our children, right? We put our children first and then we'll do this later. Once my children get through school, then I'll do this, right? Once my children do this, then I'll do this. Well, you know, I want to make sure I'm a good spouse, and maybe I let my husband do this or whomever do that, right? If that's how it's set up in your family, okay, but you just want to make sure that you're not doing these things hoping that you're going to get something in return. That's what codependency is. Right? We're saying, I'm going to put your needs ahead of mine at a detriment to what I need. That part is the part that I want you to monitor. And maybe there's some room for negotiation that you never explored. Right? And say, you know what? Okay, well, if you're doing this, I would like to spend some time to do this and do this that I enjoy, whatever this is. And guess what? If you don't know, it's okay because you get to try some new things. But knowing your role in your relationship helps you understand your purpose. All right. And so the seventh thing is notice who drains you. Yes, I want you to notice who drains the emotional, physical energy out of you. Who is that person? Who are those persons? Who's someone that you talk to that you're like, oh my goodness, like I feel my anxiety going. I feel the heat rising. I feel like, oh my goodness, I have to be on guard. What are you going to say this time? Do I have to defend myself? Do I have to answer a lot of, I don't know. Who drains you? You know who's going to tell you that? You know what's going to tell you your best answer is your body. Your body is going to be the best predictor and the best experience of letting you know who does not sit well with you emotionally. Now, let me tell you why this is important. Because they are taking up emotional space and emotional energy in you where you don't have room to get your purpose, right? You don't have room to explore new things. You don't have room to see where you fit in relationships because now here's someone coming, sucking some energy out of you. And you say, you know what, if I put a boundary in this relationship, if you say, you know what, I can't answer every call that you make, I can't respond to every text message, no, I cannot come over, no, you can't come over. When you can, I will let you know. Let me get back to you as I sort some things out. And then you say, you know what, how do I feel that I've made that decision? How does my body feel? Do I have more space to explore things about me and relationships and then who I am in those relationships? Yeah, once you explore and you can make some difficult decisions about the relationships, about who drains you, because the price might become high. So those were the 7, but I want to give you a bonus. Are y'all all right with the bonus? Are you okay with the bonus? I'm going to give you a bonus. You don't have to know your entire story to work through your purpose. You don't have to know the entire story. People pivot when they're at their highest purpose, right? When you are actually operating in who you are, you are going to start making some challenging decisions, maybe not on purpose, maybe not consciously, but maybe you might be saying, things are changing. Relationships are now repelling. They're not calling as much. Why? Because maybe now you have noticed that codependency in you and you said, I'm not going to do that anymore, right? Maybe you noticed that you've been so dependent on someone that you haven't learned how to cope on your own when you're going through something different. So now that person's like, well, who am I now that you don't need me as much? You're able to figure this out on your own, right? So when you pivot, you are actually operating in your highest purpose. That's what I want you to do. So what I want you to do after this video, look at the show notes. And there's a video I did before this, right? And it's called How to Know the Difference Between Whether You're Being Busy and How You're Being Productive. I want my high achieving grown women leaders to know the difference between busyness and productivity. Go ahead and listen to that video. Tell me your thoughts about it. Drop it in the comments. And what are you? Have you been operating in busyness or have you been operating in productivity? Now, before you leave this video, few things. Click subscribe, click the thumbs up, and leave me a comment and let me know how you enjoyed the video. I have a free gift for you. Look in the show notes. Download my free boundary checklist. And I'll see y'all in the next video.